Hi everybody, I just wanted to kind of walk you through our book that we have been using and the flip book we've been creating. I'm adjusting the image here really quick so you can see it a little better. And I just kind of wanted to walk you through it, and I gave this to everybody. I'm not going to go through how to create the entire thing. I just want to focus on what we did today in notes and give you a chance. Maybe you couldn't read what you wrote and you want to make that a little clearer. Remember, the first layer, the top layer, is quadrilaterals. All of these things that we're listing are all quadrilaterals, which means they're four-sided figures and it's a convex polygon that has four sides. The interior angles all sum to 360 degrees. That's what quadrilaterals are. Okay? Today we focused on, and I'm going to go ahead and flip these other two up because I don't want you even looking at them right now. Today we focused on parallelograms. Parallelograms, now we have three layers here. We have the parallelogram layer, which is just underneath the quadrilateral. Then we have our rectangle layer, our rhombi layer, and the square layer. So four layers total, if that kind of helps you to think about. Quadrilateral, parallelogram, rectangle, rhombi, rectangles and rhombi. Rhombi is plural for rhombus. And then we have our square layer. I wanted to give you a chance to look at each of these. Now, I'm not going to spend a long time on each one, but I am going to zoom in a little bit. Hopefully that will make it a little easier for you to read and kind of give you an opportunity to freeze the frame so you can copy everything down. So here's the one frame. For Annie, I have zoomed this in, and speak of the devil, she just walked in the room. And here are all of the things I had you write down for notes about parallelograms. We have opposite sides that are parallel. Opposite angles are congruent. The diagonals bisect each other. Opposite sides are congruent. Consecutive angles are supplementary. What that means is the two angles next to each other are supplementary. I also know that this angle and that angle would be supplementary. And then if we have one pair of congruent parallel sides, we also know we have a parallelogram. Okay, the next two, we had rectangles, so let's focus on that one first. Rectangles, we know a rectangle has four right angles and that the diagonals are congruent. Okay, now let's focus on our rhombus side. Remember, if you need to look at these longer, you can go back and freeze it or pause the video. In a rhombus, my diagonals form right angles and are perpendicular. We know all four sides are congruent and that the diagonals bisect the angles. So this diagonal cuts each of those corner angles in half. But remember, my opposite angles are congruent back from the parallelogram, and that still applies here. And then our last shape is the square, and a square is both a rectangle and a rhombi. And here's our square with all the marks on it. I'm going to give you a second, so pause it if you need to copy any of this down. Remember what we talked about here with this particular flip book, and that is that if I can lift a tab and it lifts a piece with it, it is one of those things. So a rectangle is a parallelogram and a quadrilateral, because when I lift rectangles, all of those pieces come up. That means all those properties apply to a rectangle. Same thing for a rhombi. If I lift it, notice that a rhombi is not a rectangle. It is a parallelogram and a quadrilateral, though. But holy smokes, look at square. Square is everything that we just listed. Now I'm going to go ahead and show at the end here the kite, the trapezoid, and the isosceles trapezoid, so I don't have to do another video for that. I also suggested you put the three formulas we talked about up here. There's your kite. Go ahead and copy that down. Maybe I'll zoom in for Annie again. There's the kite. Here's the trapezoid. And here's the isosceles trapezoid. I'm going to zoom out so you can see the whole thing. Okay? Hopefully that's enough. And if you have any questions, go ahead and come in during Spartan time, and I will make sure and have my sample available for you. Thanks, guys, and have a great